Hola, bienvenidos. Welcome back to Charlala. This video will demonstrate the conversation mode of the DrawRoom. If the DrawRoom is new to you, it is essentially a digital whiteboard tool, and the conversation mode of this DrawRoom allows you to use the digital whiteboards for a variety of different activities. Weekend chats, card talks, really just a great opportunity to provide rich, comprehensible input in the target language. After you log into your account, you do want to start by clicking DrawRoom at the top and then choosing Conversation Mode on the left. Before we begin, there are also a few settings worth noting. Requiring student login. If your students have Charlala accounts, I do recommend using this option. This helps deter students from participating inappropriately. If you do require student logins, you also have the option to specify a specific class and lock it just to that specific class, but this is also optional. We're going to go ahead and turn this off for this specific activity. Allowing stickers. Stickers are fun little emojis that students can add to their drawing canvases. These definitely help out our artistically challenged students. Music, whether or not you want to have background music playing during the activity, obviously only when it's appropriate, not during conversation time. And then finally, the draw timer down at the bottom. If you want to help pace the activity and limit how long students have to respond for each prompt, you'll want to go ahead and adjust this setting. After all our settings are complete, we'll go ahead and start the DrawRoom at the top. Welcome to the DrawRoom waiting room. On a student device, students will need to visit charlala.com/draw and enter this room code at the top of your screen. Please note this room code is case sensitive, so students do need to be careful of upper and lower case when entering the room code. In the teacher's waiting room, you can now see that we have my 5 student volunteers today. Shout out to Emily, Mateo, Taylor, Marta, and Jasmine. If you want, you can go ahead and click on a student's name to remove them from the activity. If a student's name either shouldn't be there, they're joining from outside your class, or if they're joining with an inappropriate name. Before we begin the activity, let me quickly show you around some settings you'll have available throughout the entire activity. In the top left, you're able to lock and unlock the activity, which allows students to join or not join. I recommend after you have all the students in the activity that you know will be participating to go ahead and lock that room so nobody else joins. In the top right, you can also turn music on and off throughout the activity.
Game begin.
And you can access the settings throughout the activity. You cannot adjust the requiring student login after the activity starts. You would have to start a new activity for that. But you would be able to adjust allowing stickers on the drawing canvas, turning music on and off throughout the activity, the draw timer if you want to adjust the time or if you want to get rid of it altogether, and whether you want the room to be locked at all. During the middle of the activity, you can also view all of our participants and kick them out if you need to, or remove them from the activity. And then finally, if you want to end the activity, you can do that here. If you make any adjustments to these settings during the game, just make sure you click Save in the top right before heading back to the activity. Now we're ready to begin. I always remind my students that although this activity involves drawing, the real goal of our activity is communication in the target language, for them to stay in target language and for myself, provide them input in the target language. Then I provide their first question prompt in the target language and ask them to draw their response on their device. I always start my activities with a check-in or ¿Cómo estás hoy? How are you feeling today? So let's begin. Students, how are you doing today? Please respond on your device. And I'll click Start in the top right. After we give students that prompt, we see our timer start counting down right away. The appropriate amount of drawing time really varies from question to question and level to level. I recommend starting with 90 seconds. If everyone finishes early, awesome, you can go ahead and end drawing early in the top right. Or if students need additional time afterwards, you can allow that after the 90 seconds. Wow. After I see that all my student drawings are in, I will go ahead and end drawing round number 1. First thing to note is that student names are not immediately visible. You can see them by hovering over the eye in the bottom left corner. You can enlarge a drawing, you can delete a drawing if it's inappropriate, or you can download and save it for later. But now is where the real conversations begin between you and your students, building on that original prompt, how do you feel today? So I'd pull up this first image. Most likely I wouldn't reveal the student name on this one just because we have a sad face, but I'd ask the class, how does this student feel today? She's sad. How do we know she's sad? Oh, because she's crying. Any guesses as to why she'd feel this way? Oh, there's a math test today. Oh, wow. See, we can adjust the questions kind of for any level that you have. You can even ask something as basic as, oh, what color is this? What shape is this? Depending on the level of your language learners. You can go through multiple students' drawings, have those same conversations, maybe do some direct comparisons of which feels better, which feels worse, really guide that conversation how you see fit. After we go through and discuss multiple students' drawings, you have the option to select up to 5 finalists. These finalists are the drawings that you felt either really stood out or you think are really going to help guide the next step in our conversation. If you prefer to skip this step, you can do so in the top right by clicking Skip Voting. If you do skip voting, that will take you immediately to the next round of drawing. For today's activity, I'm going to go ahead and choose all our students as finalists because they really did a nice job on that first prompt question, how are you feeling today? Before we start the voting, I like to provide a follow-up question for my students to help guide their voting. Students, I want you to pretend that after this class, you're going to math class. How do you feel? And then go ahead and start voting. From the student device, they can see all the finalists I just chose, and then they get to vote based on that second question prompt about going to math class. After I see that all votes are in, I'll go ahead and end voting in the top right. And now we'll tally the votes and show our final masterpieces. At this point, I'll pull that question prompt a little bit further. Oh, wow, so you guys really don't like math class, do you? How come? Why? Is math difficult? Is math easy? Do you prefer math or science? See, we can really take the conversation wherever it needs to go based off of our class. You can see down at the leaderboard, students are rewarded for 2 different things, either an art bonus or a guest bonus. That art bonus is based off of if you were chosen as a finalist, and then based off of the total number of votes you received, and then the guest bonus is based off of you voting successfully for the masterpiece. Afterwards, you can either start another round of drawing, or you can end the activity early. For some activities, you may choose to really build on the last topic. So for example, I would continue talking about classes and which ones are our favorite, or which classroom activities do we like doing the most. For our example conversation today, though, I'll frame this more as a weekend chat, and I'll ask students, for your next question, what did you do last weekend? What did you do last weekend? Or where did you go? And start the new drawing round. And just like that, students are done with their responses and ready for our next round of conversations. Oh, you played a sport. Class, what sport is this? Do you all like tennis? Do you dislike tennis? Do you prefer to watch or play tennis? Do you know a famous player? Oh, you ate at a famous chicken fast food restaurant I don't want to say the name of. Class, do you like this restaurant? Do you prefer to eat at home or do you prefer to eat at restaurants? Why? And as you go through different student drawings, the opportunities for conversations are truly endless. We'll then go ahead and repeat what we learned in step 1. After we end the drawing, we'll go ahead and choose our finalists. I'll choose all 5 of our student participants again today. I'll provide a follow-up question or prompt and then start student voting. After you're completely done with that second round, you can choose to end the activity in the top right, or you can extend it for more questions and more drawing rounds. The opportunities for input are truly endless for all levels. You can do some novice activities talking about what your favorite animals are, or what did you eat this weekend. Bring it up to intermediate, talk about the past, what did you do on your favorite vacation, or we can get a little bit more advanced, incorporate the subjunctive. What would you do with $1 million? For our example activity, though, today, I'm going to go ahead and end it there after 2 rounds. After the activity is complete, you can view the leaderboard, You can take a look at just the masterpieces, and if you want to download each one individually, you can do that here. You can also take a look at all drawings from the activities and download those that you want for later. This has been a quick summary of the DrawRoom in the conversation mode. As always, please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or suggestions. Nos vemos pronto. Ciao.